Hey you guys, got a 30-minute game up against somebody rated 931 and we're seeing Alekine's defense, which is a bit unusual, particularly at this level. So he's brought his King's Knight out to attack this pawn, but my pawn can actually just advance one square, which I guess is going to be the normal line. Now the knight retreats, so it would be rude not to grab the centre when it's offered, so d4. And now this knight comes out. Now the difference here is that this pawn is protected by my queen, whereas previously this one was not protected. So I don't have to do anything, I can just bring out my knight, add another defender to both pawns, and he sends his knight back. So there's no development at all. Absolutely zero development. Okay, let's bring out the other knight. Oh. Now if I push the pawn, what's going to happen? He can't capture there. He can't go there because of the queen. He could go here or here. Or he could go all the way back home. That'd just be precious. Okay, let's do it. Just do it for fun. And he's gone back again. He doesn't want an opening. It's like, I don't like the openings. Oh, brilliant. I love it. Okay. So I don't want to keep pushing pawns up. I'd like to get my king castled. So I think bishop. This looks okay. He hasn't got b5 because I just take it, so that's alright. Not a great chess day today, not been chessing very well. Played 2, lost 2. They weren't terrible games. Okay, now, if I take and d takes, we've got queen takes queen, and then king must recapture, so that's good. If I take and f takes, it's the f pawn, he's moved the f pawn. Not great. Wow. Okay, I now have pawn takes f7 check, and the pawn is protected by my bishop. That was very rash, especially with 29.5 minutes left on the clock. This is check now. He can't capture, so he has to move the king. All right. And now, I mean, bishop g5 check looks pretty good. I mean, his king can't go there or there or there or there or there. The king's going to have to go back into there. Okay, so if bishop here, I mean, he can block with the knight, but I'll just take the knight. Does that help us? I'm looking at this idea. Oops, maybe knight. Oh no, I can't move my knight. That one's pinned. Okay, I can capture the knight, get a queen, and he's going to have to recapture with queen or rook, in which case I take that piece as well. So I'm up 9 materials now. This is a very, very shaky start. Okay, I can develop my bishop now to g5 with check. There's no way to block, it's free development. And the king can't approach the bishop either to threaten it, so... Okay. Knight's still pinned, can't move. I could castle and break the pin. I'm also tempted to castle this side. You know, when the d pawn is off the board, castling queen's side is nice and rapid because you get a rook straight in the centre 2 files, plus that rook is automatically covering a good amount of the board. Okay, my opponent would like to chat. Okay, so I think just castle. Alright, queen to here. Okay. Why did my opponent play that move? Well, with this opponent, it's very hard to tell. Yeah, he's got 2 attackers on this knight. could simply move the knight to here, also attacking c7. I like that move. So if the queen ever abandons the defense of c7, I've got knight to there with a fork, yeah? Let's go with that. It also frees up this square, so now I can push c3 or a3 or b3. Start kicking some wood. So got quite good control of it. Oh dear, that was terrible. Because now he's actually blocked the queen's defense of that square. Awful move. Okay, king can't go there or there, so he's got to go here or here. I can't play my queen into there. Well, let's see what happens if I kick the bishop. So if the bishop comes off this diagonal, I might have queen here, check, king can't go there, there, there. He's got to go here or here. Okay, that's not a bad move actually, because if I take, oh no, if I take, he takes, it is a bad move. It is a bad move, indeed it is. And now the bishop's off the board. Now I do have this check, and if he recaptures with the pawn, rook takes rook. In fact, the rook was mine anyway. Don't know why I'm even talking about that. Okay, queen's taken. Okay, let's force an exchange of queens. When you're this far up in material, so this is a fork on king and queen, he has to capture my queen. Yeah, and pawn takes. Now his rook can actually move. That is what he should be doing. Well, I've got ideas of now. Okay, maybe I should have captured the rook. Huh. Didn't see that. This is the problem when you're playing somebody several hundred points lower. At least it's a unrated game. Alright, so I don't have rook to there now. I'm going to put my knight on here. My opponent's got a light coloured bishop, so if I put my knight on a dark square, it's covering light squares, which makes life harder for that bishop. I am up significant material here. I'm attacking the bishop has to move, and then I can grab, no I can't, it's defended by the knight as well. Let's grab that pawn. Okay, I'm going to take the bishop and then grab this pawn. And now I'm up a rook and a knight, and I think that's checkmate. Yes, indeed. Cool. Let's see if he wants a rematch. If not, we'll just go through, analyse. But you can tell what we're looking at, right? Sub 1000, we're looking at simple blunders. But the grob opening. Okay then. D5 opens up a line for my bishop to capture the pawn. I'm going to capture the pawn. Oh dear. It never gets old. Right, E5. Undeveloping. Targeting this square half-heartedly. See, any time you move your knight out to the natural square where a pawn can hit it, I don't think it's great. He did that twice in the last game. Alright. This is a novelty. Let's kick the knight again. Now where are you going to go? I think that's the only safe square, yeah? And this is, again, the problem. The pawn can't take because rook takes rook. The same patterns are being repeated. And that's a one-move blunder, you see. Now we've got double pawns. That pawn's mine. I'm going to capture it with the rook, just to develop my rook. And also, if I'd taken with the pawn, we'd have just had deadlock pawns. I'd like the mobility. So I think this knight needs to come out, then castle. I'm up 7 already. I'm up a rook and 2 pawns. Damn, he says. Yeah. he says you're good now. He says, God, please help. Wow, okay. I actually don't think he's playing like a 900. I think he's playing like a kind of 600 in this one. All right, so okay, if you take, I'll just take back. That's okay. Might even take with that. What's that? You're attacking this pawn. Okay, I'm just going to move my queen to defend. So king and queen in line, have to make a mental note. Watch out for light squared bishops. So if he moves this pawn now, that is the threat. Because that's a pin on the queen, king, and attacking the rook. Haha! Maybe he's seen it. Maybe I have. Let's attack the queen. The queen can't come here because rook takes, so queen has to retreat. Yep. Now let's really shut the door on that bishop. I'm still getting ready to castle. It's defended twice. Defended once by the pawn. I have to castle. If he pushes this pawn, I'm going to push back and stop him his tracks. Fortunately, there's no g-pawn, so that's all good. This is good. If he wants to move that pawn, yes, yes. Happy days. Okay, don't recapture. See if I care. Now he's attacking my queen. But look, if I take this pawn, comes to check, right? That's completely forcing. He has to get out of check on the next move, so he doesn't have time to take the queen. And now I can play, for example, rook e8. And now the knight is pinned. The knight cannot move, or else he'll be putting himself in check, which is against the rules. I might like put my queen here, threaten that rook. Could be game over. Okay, now I'll go there now. He can take my queen, and I take his queen with check. He has to get out of check, yeah? Okay, let's try this trick. It's not really a trick. I mean, above 1000 you would probably notice this. Okay, so this recapture comes with check, you see. This is the difference. Now he's got to get out of that. You can go there or there, yeah. Alright. And now, how about that? Knight g4, check, defends the rook. And I'm going to recapture the knight now. Quite like that as well though, that's quite a nice move. But let's grab the knight first, because it's there. Assuming these two stay in line, I have this. I have this now. King's got to move. Can't approach the knight to threaten it. Can't go there, can't go there. Oh, there's only one square. Okay, that's defended, defended. I think we have mate in 2. Bishop blocks, rook takes. No, because then the king can go here. But hey, we get a bishop. There we go, two bishops actually, that's not bad. Not bad going at all. Don't mind if I do. You want to take my knight? Do ya? Do ya? Let's check him. And he's still got 2 moves. If I put my bishop here, it's defending the knight, and then the rook's... This is a classic 3-way pattern, right? Bishop, knight, and rook. Look at that. They're all defending each other. Everything's defended. And now I have the threat of rook takes a3, rook a1, checkmate. No. Even if he takes the pawn, it's no issue. Rook there is mate. And I don't think he's got any way of getting out of it either. Okay, that was fun. No, I think he's declined the rematch. Okay, so let's go over this one. Let's just look at the tactics. I mean, first of all, this is a terrible start. I mean, right, it's not the worst. These pawns, at least, do not allow bishops to come out into the board. At least moving the g-pawn allows this bishop to develop, right? But this grob opening, I don't know about that. I don't know about that at all. And now I'm already attacking it, yeah? And now he loses his pawn. So if you're going to play that opening, if you're 900 plus, yeah, for sure, you should be defending. Because now I'm threatening to capture this knight. If pawn recaptures, he's got doubled and isolated pawns on the f file and an isolated pawn on the h file. And it's only like move 3. It's terrible. And he moves his knight back. Now, don't go around undeveloping pieces that you've already developed. So why not move the knight here? Yeah, leave it in the board. Knights are very powerful in the centre of the board. They love to be in this whole area there. Right? So I'd have moved the knight here. But he undevelops again. This is a bad habit. Okay? And this gives me the opportunity to develop, so grabbing the centre, I'm now controlling all of these squares as well as these two. Right? These are the squares I'm controlling in my opponent's half of the board. Kicks the bishop, but also remember this is Freddy the f pawn. Okay. Now at this point, is that even mate? Is that mate in 1? Did I miss mate in 1? I think I did, you know. I think I did. Oh wow, let's try it. Queen h4 checkmate. Oh man. Oh man, I mean he got punished bad enough, but that would have been an absolute howler. Anyway, so yeah, so the board's gone pale now because I've deviated. Okay, bishop just drops back, knight comes out now, but it's generally a mistake to move the knight in the way of a pawn on the 4th rank. So now he has to do something. Now knight has to run away, but you don't defend a piece worth 3 points from a piece worth 1 point. You know, you have to move out the way. If the attacker is of much lower value than the piece being attacked, and now he can't recapture because the pawn was pinned, and now this is a one. I mean, why? Okay, in the opening, if you're a beginner, right, move one or both of your central pawns in order to get your bishops out. If you want, you can move a b pawn or a g pawn, and maybe fianchetto your bishops, or one or both, right? You want to get your knights out into the board. He's not done that. He's undeveloped this knight, and you leave your rooks till later. I mean, yes, you can lift a rook, but not this early in the game, and certainly not putting it in the way of a bishop. So now I grab a free pawn. This is a non-move, but also it's moving the bishop from a square where it's defended to a square it's undefended. Don't get it. There, I just push another pawn, adding more defenders. Pushes c3, and here beginners really need to get into this habit of going, okay, well look, there's 2 scenarios. If I take, he recaptures, is that better or worse for me? Or if I let him take and I say recapture with the e-pawn, or he takes and I recapture with this, you've got to play through each of those scenarios in your mind and figure out which is the best. So I figure that him taking me is not an issue. I'm quite happy with that. So let's continue with the plan. And because we're in the opening phase, I haven't castled, haven't completed development, I need to develop. Knight to f6. Queen comes out now. I just lift my queen. I also had this move. That would have annoyed the queen and sent her back where she came from. The pawn now attacks the queen. Queen retreats. Close down the space. So here he presents a pawn, right? And its only defender is the pawn that's in front of the king, which is generally not a good idea. So I take, and he decides not to recapture because he knows there's checks coming, right? So he doesn't recapture. It allows me to recapture. Doesn't recapture again. And here again is the difference between a beginner and intermediate player, is that he's attacking my queen, but I realise that if I can capture with check, or give check, then this threat is not it's not realizable on the next move. So he has to get out of check, queen takes. Now I pin the knight. See here, looks like just a free attack. He said, I'm going to attack your queen. Haha, but now you can't because you're in check. And now the knight is pinned. So how does he save that knight? Puts his queen in the way. I come over to attack the rook. And I've calculated this, right? So I'm up 9 here, takes, move, and now attack. Right, so we've both given up our queens, but his knight is still under threat. Okay. Now I didn't notice it, I didn't see this move until he moved his king. I didn't know which way his king was going to go, and I didn't bother to calculate it through, right? But I just felt like there were going to be options because I've got so many more pieces on the board. I've got so much more control over the board. Okay, so check, and now the knight falls. Okay, so now he's down 12 materials. And skewer the king against the rook. Check. Loses the bishop, loses another bishop. Check again. And now it's going to be checkmate because we've got this nice structure, this nice triple crown going on here. Taking the pawn. Doesn't matter. Checkmate. All right. So there you go. Yeah, I don't think my opponent played his best. I would have expected more from a 900. However, you know, when you're playing somebody 500 points higher rated, it is easy to get flustered. I've done it before. But still, he lost the 30-minute game inside 4 minutes. Right. Only took me 3 minutes on my clock as well. So. So what do we learn from this? It's just the general principles. I mean, he simply didn't follow opening principles at the start. This is an awful. I wouldn't recommend any beginner to start with the grob and give up a pawn. I mean, it's just simple blunders. If you're going to do that, you have to be aware of d4 immediately opening up the bishop. It's just not right. So yeah, I don't think he was playing his best, but you know, there's reasons why you play certain moves and not other moves at the start of the game. He's given me the centre here, and let's just see how that centre pans out. Right, knight comes out, I advance. I'm just gaining. I mean, this is just it's just tactical blunders, really. And now you can see he's struggling to advance his pawns. He's struggling to get his pieces out. This was terrible. I mean, I think checkmate is still on there, isn't it? Dear, I've got to sharpen up my sense for checkmates. You see, I don't expect mate in 1 on move 4, but I need to be open to this kind of thing. You know, I'm developing. He's got 1 piece out in the board. I've got 3, and I'm ready to castle. Yeah. Simple stuff. And now closing down. So I'm using my advanced pawns just to throttle this side of the board. Yeah, so now his knight can't go there, his bishop can't go there, his queen can't go there or there. You know, I'm just removing his options and increasing my own. Yeah, it's just bad play. I mean, the people that I've tutored who were in the 900s, I think would play far, far stronger than this. So I don't think it was his best day, but it's not my best day either. And there you go, missing mate in 1 on move 4. What a howler. Okay, well, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you've picked up 1 or 2 things, and I'll see you soon.